Pokes. Ezreal, Corki, synchronized power spike. They're 2-item power spike. Then you have your utility. You've got shields with you, and you've got the 2 chunky boys, Garen, and as well as the Gragas for your initiate, and as well as your silence, and as well as your disengage. This looks super solid from Liyab. Execration, I love it as well. The Wukong for the final touch on that shockwave instead of that Olaf, who will just I feel like Wukong is definitely the better setup to pair with Orianna. Orianna can provide the shields towards the Kai'Sa. Both of these compositions are so explosive, can hurt in their own ways, but Liyab definitely can spike faster than Execration. And at the same time, if Execration is able to do the wombo combo, Liyab can be in deep trouble. But at least for Liyab, they have a lot of mobility on their carries, so they can reposition and veer away from any sort of potential knock-up wombo combos.
Yeah, lots of mobility onto the Corki as well as the Ezreal onto the hands of Exocen as well as Gambit, but they have ways to cancel out the engages that Execration might do. I mean, that's a Garen that can silence. Gragas can go for the explosive cask to throw away the members of Execration, and the light binding that might be coming from Moraita Boys Lux. So differences in terms of the comp that they got, a Pope type of composition for Liyab Esports, while Execration is this in-your-face type of comp, and you just can go all in and find their way to just go in front of your face.
Yeah, they do have that backline access in the form of Tante. He will be that, split pusher as usual, and then be able to create chaos in the backline of, towards Gambit, towards Exocen. But we saw how scary this composition can get on their mid-game spike when it comes to damage. Execration, again, it's all about piling in those ultimates together, create that wombo combo for that setup for your squad. We'll have to check it out on that first dragon fight for sure. So I do expect no ganks will happen too much unless, Execration dual lane will sort of bully out Exocen out of his lane again on the Corki.
Yeah, and that's what they're doing. I mean, that's 2 champions in the middle lane to pressure the Corki in the mid. But what I'm actually wanting to take a look at, or what I'm trying to find, is the backline access of Liyab Esports onto the Kai'Sa of Aizen. And I think that's kind of lacking unless they are willing to send out the Garen of Nixu into flanking on the sides and finding that perfect spot to get the Kai'Sa. But for the meantime, onto the top side, just a little bit of pressure coming onto Tante with a potential gank that could have come from Miggy.
Yeah, a flash was burned from Tante, so he will not have that in the next few minutes or so. Next few minutes, rather, as I think his flash will be up anyways by the time they're going to do a dragon fight. But that means Miggy can visit the second time around. There is that hook shot, though, for that mobility. So Camille can get super super mobile, rather slippery. So unless Liyab Esports can just burst him down to pieces on this squishy pick for Tante.
Yeah, especially if the pokes are already there. But do take note that yes, that Camille is slippery, but these are 2 other mobile champions that is in the hands of Liyab Esports. The Corki as well as the Ezreal can even chase the hell out of you if you try to even go for an attempt onto backing away. But again, there are pros and cons onto their composition. But I guess the win condition in here, we all know already what the win condition is for Execration. It's just basically allowing that Kai'Sa to free hit from the backline and just go for protect the queen composition. But for Liyab Esports, what I'm finding in here is that they need the Garen to join the team fights. They need the Garen to flank onto the sides and silence whoever is going for the protection onto the Kai'Sa and create a space for the Ezreal, the Corki as well as the Lux to free hit the frontliners of Execration in such a way they will be put into bad spot in no longer sustaining team fights.
Yeah, they could potentially aim for Nixu to cause chaos in the backline as well. A little bit hard, though, He's not an Og. The cancel on Moraita Boy's teleport. But yeah, Garen can get shredded into pieces before he arrives in the back line. If he is going front to back, I suppose. So flanking could be an option. Or you could also stay within the back line, near the back line as well, just in case Tante decides to go in again and he's there to greet him with another silence. But Infernal Drake is online already. Teams would definitely want to get that extra damage on the board for themselves, so we'll have to see.
Yeah, we'll definitely have to see, but the Baron laners are way too busy here up top. And now this is just a question as to who's gonna be reacting to who. But the lead in terms of the clearing of minion waves was onto the hands of the Garen, so we might potentially be seeing the Garen to be first in position together with the members of Liyab Esports onto this Dragon Pit. But we do take note that the composition of Liyab Esports is poke type. They should not be in a position onto going first onto this Dragon Pit because they might get punished earlier on when Execration finds the perfect spot to initiate onto them. So we'll see how this will go.
Yeah, I mean, Execration can just wait for the package to expire, find the right timing to enter the fight because again, they have that Cyclone from that Wukong. But at the same time, we'll have to see.
Folks here and there, they're not yet gonna go for that initiate, waiting for the dragon to go somewhere near half-life, and this is what we talk about. Now who's gonna get the last hit onto the dragon? Now they focus on to taking down the champions first. That was a messy initiate or a counter objective, or rather a counter contest by Execration. I was thinking that they should have gone for the dragon as well because again it's already super half-life. I think everyone just went on to going for the team fight and not minding the dragon. I think that was a missed opportunity. I mean, Liyab Esports already made a mistake by starting off the dragon for themselves because members of Execration could have or should have been able to shove at least, put them into a position wherein some of the members are going for the shoving of the members of Liyab Esports, while the rest, in particular, also Supremo, going for a focus onto the already less than half-life dragon. But that didn't happen.
I think Liyab was just very comfortable and confident because they wanted pressure. They wanted a bait. They wanted to use that package pressure while it was up. So that is the reason why they started that dragon. And it paid off because if you activate that Cyclone, again, by Supremo, and you target your backline, the backline of Liyab, they can just reposition with the Valkyrie. Dedenne?
Oh, no! But why did he come back onto that position? I guess he would want to go for a turret hug, but then again, he got caught up by the final spark of that luck, so that was also bad luck. Who that sounds like, but yeah, I mean, it also makes me wonder how Supremo is comfortable with the Wukong. We can remember he made use of the Wukong as well from yesterday, and it feels like there's also this miscommunication happening from this jungle champion that we're making use this time for Execration.
Yeah, it was Liyab Esports definitely taking advantage of the isolated Dedenne on the Orianna. I mean, props still for Dedenne with the timed barrier over Nixu's ult, but at the same time, it was Moraita Boy finishing and dealing that final blow. And you're right, Liyab Esports is rewarded with more towers, or rather with more towers, right, with more towers on the board for them, making more space. It will definitely help them get more control over both river sides. So with that said, they're aiming towards that power spike. Again, remember, Exosan, Gambit, waiting for the Triforce. There, Triforce already acquired by Exosan. I assume Gambit is also either close or he already has the Triforce. So this is where Liyab Esports can get extra confident in initiating fights.
Yeah, and look at what Moraita Boy is doing, just creating space for Migi, roaming around together with him, and the rest of the mobile champions that we've got in the form of the Ezreal and the Cookie will just take care of themselves because they can just, just maybe go for an arcane shift out if you are getting caught up by the members. Just like that, right? So just like that, you're just gonna go for the arcane shift. Final spark sometimes, not even worried about making use of that into clearing of minion waves. And by the way, I just realized, again, these are 2 global ultimates available from Gambit's Ezreal as well as Morita Boy's Lux. So in terms of even going for chances into going for some steals or going some fast clear minion waves, they got the advantage.
Yeah, definitely. They have advantage on that portion at least to help secure kills, just as you mentioned. But Liyab going over, maximizing this Rift Herald because it's gonna charge. It's gonna charge towards that base turret as well. So they're knocking this out early.
Early as 9-minute game time, but in here we see a team fight happening. Redemption has been used to give some heals and more sustain for the members of Liyab Esports. Not gonna be taking that inhibitor turret in the bottom lane, but at least this is already a threatening position on the side of Execration, as they could have potentially lose that anytime as well if Garen was allowed to go for a split pushword. Oh, gotta love that. What is that? Yeah, that skin. Gotta love that skin, the animation and all. Sorry,
It's
just had to
very
notice
pretty.
that.
The Star Guardian Ezreal, I
Yeah.
think. But I think Nixu is fine. He is a Garen after
He
all.
is. Yeah, he is a Garen. After all, just gotta repeat that because he's a Garen. Because he's a knight, manly man, just can go in front of your face. And he's not gonna be like, your damage is gonna be something cute to see for him.
I know, very cute indeed, but you know what's not cute? Exosense damage towards Execration. The one rocket, and I think that was a normal rocket to boot.
Oh, that was a shadow. That was a clone, so I thought that was Supremo. But again, the damage, the shredding damage coming off from both Exocet as well as the poke damage coming from Gambit is so far already looking way too much for the side of Execration. Makes me wonder as well if the previous game somehow affected or is affecting their performance currently. It could be both. It could be the draft, the Garen getting stolen away. Also, Supremo not playing onto his comfort jungle pick. And there's nothing like Lee Sin or Camille into their comp. And again, Wukong is something that we don't usually see him of. And by history as well, at least from yesterday, it was a Wukong that did a win a match from yesterday too. So, but the chances are still here for Execration. We did see this from yesterday, from Liyab versus Sunspark's game, wherein they just have to wait for the power spike. They need to give Ison the itemization that he needs in order for him to go for the play that he wants.
Yeah, they're waiting for Ison to still scale up, but another fight happens.
Apparently, yes, another fight happens in here, but apparently too, the Wukong is quite in a dangerous spot. Gonna get that bad Islam coming from the Gragas, readying that explosive, not explosive gas, but that damage as well. Talking about some more damage. Look at the space created by Nixu. Again, the damage coming from the Execration is just way too cute to see for him. Gotta repeat that word because that is something that we are seeing in terms of visual in our screens right now. Nixu super tanky, gotta get the Sunfire as well into his build. So that is allowing him to both sustain and deal some amount of damage against Execration too.
That is true, and now Liyab is rewarded by killing Supremo. That means no jungler, that means Baron, and that is them wanting more of that siege. It is a poke comp. After all, that means their poke composition is just gonna further transition into maybe a siege comp. They can use this as well to poke under tower and scare away Execration with this. Now they're going for a little bit of a 1-3-1 with their push. They are capable of doing so. Again, they have a ton of safety in the form of the Valkyrie and the Arcane Shift, as well as the bindings and the shield. So definitely very comfortable with this arrangement for sure.
And looking at the arrangement right now, everything, all of the lanes are just being pressured. Liyab Esports making use of basically utilizing the Baron buff that they got. So all of the lanes are pressured. You can see all those purple minions and even super minions down one part of the map. Whoa! Has been cast. making that from in a misposition or in a dangerous position. We can see Tonte in here locking in the target as well. But the members of Team Liyab Esports are just kiting the members of Execration. There's a chase onto the Kaisa, but I don't think that Kaisa will be able to go into a safe position as the chase from the Ezreal is in there too. We gotta see this action happening, and yes, that's the poke. There's a lot of damage already from the hands of the Ezreal, and actually the base is already open. The Nexus is open, and the buff is still in here. I guess this is gonna be a 2-1 score in favor of Liyab Esports. I'm calling it already, even the Nexus is still up, but this is fight obvious already. I mean, this is game.
This is game indeed. Liyab Esports ending the match 2-1 against Execration, able to confidently win to their power spikes, and then it was go time. What a match between Liyab and Execration.
Yeah, what a match indeed. We see how Liyab Esports stopped that opportunity from Execration to bring that trio combination of the Braum, Kaisa, and the Garen as well. Puts me into question that the Garen is doing much of the work instead of the Kaisa and the Braum. But overall, I think this is also somehow, it puts me into question just during the first Dragon of the game. There was a chance for Execration to actually go for a steal on that one, but I think there was an obvious miscommunication. You can see in here in the graph, first few minutes of the game, I mean, the advantage, I think first 1 minute of the game was in there for Execration, but somehow space was given onto Migi, Exosen, Gambit, and Morita Boy to just, okay, we're gonna farm, and then we're gonna get the dragon, be ready on that part of the map, and even Nixu was shoving the minion waves up top up against Tonte. And we don't usually see that happen between a Garen and a Camille. So Nixu being in a position in the Dragon Pit earlier on as well gave Execration, or rather Liyab Esports, an advantage